Okay, we're here with Mr. Evan Makovsky, and we're talking with him about athletic competition and entrepreneurship. And let me read this article that I mentioned to you before, uh, Evan, that gives a relationship between entrepreneurship and athletics. The similarities between the entrepreneur and the athlete are striking. To be successful in either arena, the business office or the playing field, the participant must learn to maximize their strengths and negate their weaknesses. For an athlete, knowing the particular strengths one possesses is vital to success in the game. So, what I'd like for you to do is comment on the significance of four things that I believe are vitally important in athletic competition as well as entrepreneurship. And these four things are purpose, preparation, power, and perseverance. And so let us have your take on how important, for example, preparation is in your business endeavors, and then relate it to some aspect of athletic competition.
I would say that preparation is always important, as simple as just in sales. If you're going to meet with a prospect, let's say, you should at least have you may be selling that prospect a specific service or product, but you should learn a little bit about that prospect, definitely how it relates to what you're selling them, but in general, knowing a little bit about who you're talking to can only prepare you to meet with that person, because even if it's just not necessary and it's to flatter that person, that you know this about them or their business, people like being, I don't know, studied, understood, and that preparation that you put in is only going to make you better when you're in front of that person. And I think that no matter what business or industry you're in, yes, there are certain things where maybe you don't need to prepare, and it's case by case basis, but as a whole, I would say that preparation is a good thing. And how it relates to athletics, I mean, okay, Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time. His father's Del Curry, who was a great shooter, so it's in his genes. He clearly has natural athletic talent. He's a better shooter. He was born a better shooter than you and I. Okay, without any preparation, Steph Curry is a better shooter than you and I. But supposedly he has unbelievable, and you can watch him before games shooting shots, preparing, and making baskets, and I don't know, maybe make 30 in a row from three-pointer, and you don't realize how far the NBA three-point line is till you really look at it. It's really far, and just to be able to make 30 of those in a row, there's no question that he has all the natural ability in the world, and he's not in that position without that natural ability. Like, I could prepare and practice forever and never be as good a shooter as Steph Curry. So I'm not saying preparation makes up for natural talent, but there's a reason he's shooting shots, because he's not playing against me. He's playing against the best basketball players in the world and other people that can, I don't want to say do what he does, but sure, that can make NBA three pointers and play defense and whatnot. So if he's really going to be great and separate himself, he needs to prepare.
But you know, Evan, we talked about this earlier. You could just mention this just to give our audience some perspective. You worked in the sports arena before, and just hit on that. For example, your work out in Los Angeles, because you do have the experience of working with and covering some of these athletes, especially in basketball, as well as, I guess, football and baseball as well.
Yeah.
And you might even maybe mention some other athletes. I know I talked to you before about LeBron James, and there are other athletes that prepare themselves to maximize their talents. So touch on that for just a second.
I mean, they all have a skill set. Like I was saying with Steph Curry, there's no doubt about it. But every one of them, I mean, I think LeBron James prepares rigorously. I mean, every athlete to get to the professional level, you have to have unique talent, but at the same time, I would say that preparation across the board is paramount to the greats. I mean, Larry Bird, you name it, Magic Johnson. They they all have to practice, as Allen Iverson used to talk about. Practice. We're talking about practice. I mean, and it does relate to whether you're in sales or you're in. It takes time. Like I got into the mortgage industry, and yeah, there's a learning, but there's a learning curve, absolutely. But you're not practicing mortgages, but you have to learn to and learn and study like what's a debt to income ratio, what's loan to value, what's you know, anything if you want to buy down points or whatever, you have to learn and you have to study, and doing it makes you better. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say that every great athlete prepares.
Okay, okay. Well, let's touch on another one. We've done preparation. And as I mentioned, personally, I believe these four are very, very important: purpose, preparation, power, and perseverance.
Yeah.
Uh, let's talk about perseverance. In other words, the ability to stay with it even in adversity. And in many of these athletes that we've talked about, and others that we haven't talked about, have gone through various issues that they've had to deal with. I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali, another top athlete that I remember. I'm old enough to remember Muhammad Ali during the height of his boxing powers back in the 60s and the 70s. But obviously, he had some adversity and issues to deal with, primarily because of his unwillingness to, at that particular time, to serve in the military. And you
Right.
do have to have your particular values and stick to those values, but those values there might be a consequence. So, but you still have to persevere. And he certainly persevered because he came back and won the heavyweight championship again. So, talk about that perseverance, how perseverance, as well as preparation, especially when you're going through an adversity in business as well as in athletic competition.
Well, perseverance is, I think, paramount because it means that you can take the ups with the downs. You can You can thrive in good times and survive in bad times. I mentioned mortgages. It's not a good time in the mortgage business as the interest rates are high and mortgage applications are at a low since 2008 and the financial crisis. And times are difficult because that means, people aren't making money, people aren't thriving, people aren't, and so you have to get creative. Do you have, you know, what can you do to hold the fort until things get better? Sometimes it means, it depends. What do you have in reserve? Does it mean you have to go get another job until things get better? Do you um so I think persevering no matter your business, the radio business was very competitive when I was in it. It was lots of people going for few jobs. So, you kind of, just like in sales, if you're job hunting and broadcasting, rejection is part of your job. It's part of your job is to be turned down, to be, if you're a salesperson, few salespeople don't get turned down. In fact, and this is a direct correlation to sports, a 300 hitter in baseball is considered a good hitter in Major League Baseball. That means that person is failing 7 out of 10 times. They're making out. 7 out of 10 times they're, quote, getting rejected, failing, not, but they're considered a good hitter because 3 out of 10 times they're getting a hit, whatever that is, a base hit, home run, whatever. But they have to go up there 10 out of 10 times expecting to succeed and not get discouraged if they make out, because more times than not, they will make out, and they need to persevere through those 7 out of 10 times to bear the fruit of those 3 out of 10 times.
Okay. 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 We've gone through preparation and perseverance, but we have two left that I'd like for you to make a comment on. And these two are purpose and power. I believe one of the reasons why, and you can tell our audience the reason why you became a mortgage broker in the first place. I'm assuming that you had some degree of love for it. And I think this relates to purpose. That is, whatever you're doing, you have to have a purpose for doing it if you're going to be successful. So address that not only in business, but also you can give some examples in athletic competition. Purpose.
I would
And maybe
say,
first of all, in your case.
I would say my purpose is more, and it was built from being a radio producer, booking guests, getting really big guests on my radio show, and kind of asking for the order, which translates into sales. Ask for the meeting, mortgages. You have to build relationships with real estate agents, and it's sales to real estate agents, really, because they give you applications and whatnot. So, my purpose, I would say more along the lines is connecting with other people, helping them out. Sales is a part of it, but am I LeBron James, or LeBron James is Bronny James, who may play in the NBA, his son? No, I wasn't born with that kind of height basketball ability where, LeBron James was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at age 13. So I think he knew his purpose, that he had otherworldly basketball talent at a very young age. Most people, I don't think, are like LeBron James, but certainly your purpose needs to align, I think, with your values, your skill set. If you're I once dated a woman and she did not like interacting with people. She just strangers. She did not like it. She didn't feel comfortable. She didn't, and she made a very good living. She was a comptroller, working behind the scenes, doing a company's finances and whatnot. And she was not like front of the house and did not have to deal with people. And she didn't like it. She didn't want to. And so, I mean, is her purpose not to deal with people? No, but she found a profession where she had skills and didn't put, she wouldn't work. She wouldn't want to be in sales where all you do is deal with people usually. I mean, there's different kinds of sales, so I don't want to say across the board, but finding your purpose, I think, has to also do with what are your talents? What are you comfortable doing? What are your values? What's important to you? I mean, I would think that most people that, let's say, become priests or rabbis or ministers or whatever, they have they feel some sort of a calling of some sort to that business. It is, I guess, it is a business, but to whatever, whether it's their own religious convictions, whether they feel like they're serving, whether they feel like I'm not. But I bet if you sat down and you talked to them, they would come back to what you're talking about. That there's a purpose there for them. I mean, so it all, yes, it's relative, but I think your purpose lies in what you're good at, what you value, what you enjoy doing, and if you can kind of find something, like if we did a Venn diagram and in the middle that hits all those circles, um, then you may be able to find your purpose. But also, maybe you have thoughts on this. Some people find their purpose not early in life. Some people find it takes until their 40s, 50s. I don't know. It's hard to nail down. I don't want to say that, no, not everybody is LeBron James, where you know that you're going to be doing this. And listen, he's about, what, probably has 2 more years and then he'll retire. But he's already a billionaire. He's one of him and Tiger Woods are one of the only two active player billionaires that are. But I think purpose it's not a hard one, but sometimes it takes time for people to find what their purpose is, and sometimes it also takes, if you want to relate it to your work, it takes maybe trying on different things, or maybe changing businesses or adapting. So,
Well, you mentioned talent, and this brings me to the last of these P's: purpose, preparation, power, and perseverance. We've talked about all of them except power, and I believe that relates to your talents. And so you need to. It's good that you can identify your talent as early as possible. You mentioned Tiger Woods, and his father certainly did that, working with him when he was a kid, what, 4 or 5 years old? playing golf.
Yeah, his
And
father.
yeah,
Earl.
the same thing is true with the Williams sisters. And so that's certainly a significant power. Is what I identify as power. That is what you're good at, your talent. So, but listen, Evan, we're coming to the close of our interview. I'd like to thank you for being with us again, because you were with us before. You've given us a lot of great insight. And maybe at some point in the future, you're going to be with us again to give us even more insight as far as how we can relate some of these things to both athletic competition as well as entrepreneurship. So give the people your contact information in case someone would like to contact you.
Okay, my name is Evan Makovsky. I live here in Raleigh. If you'd like to reach me, my phone number is 310-428-7210. My website is podcast video host, which is easy enough to remember. And I really appreciate being on your program. Normally it's me doing the interviewing, so it's a nice respite. And I do, by the way, have at least a passion myself for doing interviews. I think that I always have, and I think that it's interesting to just talk to somebody else and find out kind of what makes them tick, or whether it's the four topics that you put on the table, or so I do have a passion for that. But I really appreciate you having me.
Well, maybe I can grant you an interview where you will do the interviewing.
Okay.
And so I would definitely look forward to that. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Every Dot Black, the sponsor of this particular program. And I'd like to thank our audience for being with us today. And in closing, I'd like to say that whatever you're going through, just keep this in mind, that there's always more good things coming your way. And we'll be seeing you the next time.